Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and we're back for another video discussing Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, the brand new IP from Naughty Dog. So guys, we are less than 2 months away from the Game Awards show. We all know our expectations going into that show. It is very possible, and all the stuff that I've seen has pointed to a potential update, new trailer on the game at that show, and it is expected to reveal the gameplay or more of the world. As we know, that first trailer has not even scratched the surface of what the game's going to be, which is why when we see all the backlash and hatred on the internet, I think it's kind of foolish to see a 4-minute trailer and just assume the game is garbage and that it is gonna make a Concordian amount of dollars and the game is woke. I think we definitely need to see a bigger picture before people can just continually dunk on this game without even having a idea of what they're going to get. So several weeks ago, I talked about an article that Neil Druckmann had made before the Emmys, where he discussed a lot about Intergalactic, about how there's already been potential adaptations been discussed with it. There's going to be potentially a sequel if the game is successful. Ati Gabriel's performance as Jordan, more on the potentialities of other characters from the last of Us HBO show showing up, and basically why they decided to do this before a potential Last of Us Part 3, because initially when they had finished up Part 2, the initial discussions had been around a Last of Us Part 3, but they decided to do this first. And Neil had also said that he has no update on when they would be able to show something. Everyone here believes the Game Awards, or going to be early on 2026 at a potential PlayStation State of Play / showcase. So why am I making this video? So recently, Naughty Dog had some very interesting job postings that hint at our wait not being as long as some people think. I believe they are in their final stages with this game, but those final stages could still take some time to give you a potential idea on the release window. And also we have a very interesting article that talks about what happens if, and it's a rumor, but what happens if Intergalactic doesn't deliver, because that is always a possibility, and what Naughty Dog could do. Alright guys, if you do enjoy this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Join over the 30% who are subscribed with no subscribe button, notification bell, have it set to all. You can miss any of my videos discussing Naughty Dog or any of the games they discuss. If we can go for 750 likes on this video, greatly would appreciate it. And make sure you follow me on my social media down below: Twitter, Discord, TikTok, Twitch, and more down below to stay connected with us. Let's get straight into it. So, recently we got these job postings for Associate QA Tester / Language Development Support Contingent. Again, this was released a couple weeks ago. I'm a little late to this. So, we had a Japanese and a French one. So, what does this mean? So, I made a post about this on my Twitter, and it said, Naughty Dog has begun localization for Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. This typically means a game is near its final phase in development, seeming more and more likely for a potential late 2026, early 2027 release. Now, still, if I had to bet my money today and guess, I'm thinking this is a 2027 game. As we know, between the now and the last video I made on Intergalactic, we had just found out about Wolverine. Wolverine was at that State of Play, and Wolverine has a release window of fall 2026. Saros is coming out, I believe, what is it, March? That's going to be early. Those are the days, 2 of the big tentpole titles for Sony / PlayStation next year. Intergalactic and Wolverine have been linked together in a recent briefing as fiscal year 26-27 releases. So, what does this mean? Well, Wolverine now is a new twist in this saga of potentially finding out what the release date's going to be. Sony is not going to release 2 major titles very close to each other. They're not going to release it near Saros in March. They're not going to release it in the spring with GTA 6. I believe Naughty Dog would be a company that would try to challenge Rockstar, but I don't think they would be foolish enough to release their game around May, especially if GTA 6 does end up not getting delayed again, which who knows at this point. So you're looking at maybe the summer, and I just don't really see that happening. So then you go to the fall, and Wolverine's likely coming out probably in October, September-ish range. So realistically, you're not releasing Intergalactic during that period. So you're looking at maybe the end of the year. And I just can't see that happening. So this is a 2027 game. And unless things change or the game is a lot quicker to release than I think, it seems almost set in stone, in my personal opinion, that there's no way they'll drop this next year. For those that don't know, localization and dubs are usually done pretty far into a game's development cycle. But if Intergalactic is being localized in a few different languages already, that does suggest its development is progressing smoothly. Interestingly, Neil Druckmann noted all the way back in March, there was plenty of work in the game left to do, and that he wasn't even sure how it would end since it's still evolving and changing. And ironically, at the time of me recording this, they also have now started one for a German associate QA tester. So they're doing all the languages now. So what does that tell y'all? Things are progressing fast. Now, normally I'm not here to discuss this type of stuff, but hey, I'm going to discuss it today because I have a lot to say on this. So, this is a rumor, so please take this with a grain of salt. Everything I talked about before this obviously was factual and all that. So, this is, again, big hypothetical. But Sony could ditch Western studios, may shift to Japanese devs and traditional stories for exclusives if Ghost of Yotei and Intergalactic Heretic Prophet fail. Again, there's this whole Western Eastern debate that we see all the time on Twitter, and I don't get into any of this stuff because, again, I think it's ridiculous. I think devs on both sides of the world are phenomenal. I think each have their own strengths and weaknesses. But according to this, a source close to Sony tells The Dark Place that internal discussions in Japan suggest a major strategic reset could be coming for PlayStation exclusive lineup. According to our source, both Ghost of Yotei from Sucker Punch and Intergalactic Heretic Prophet from Naughty Dog are being viewed as last chances for Western developers to land major exclusives under the Sony's company's current direction. Now, I will say this, Ghost of Yotei, it seems like it is doing very well. Metacritic scores have been phenomenal. I've played it, very much enjoying it. I'm still going through my walkthrough of it. And it seems like on a sales front, it's doing very well. It's okay. So Intergalactic, as we know, very divisive game based on what I just talked about in the beginning of the video with all the dislikes and comments and all that. So our source claim, another rumor I'm also hearing is Naughty Dog's Intergalactic Heretic Prophet and Ghost of Yotei, the last chance for these Western developers. If they fail after that, Sony is going full focus on Japanese developers and instead to go back to traditional stories and characters. They're saying China winning on the game market with Genshin Impact, Wukong, and Wuthering Waves is a reason to change. I don't really believe any of this because Naughty Dog, despite people's opinions on Part 2, and it didn't sell as much as Part 1, it still sold over 15 million copies and won Game of the Year and was pretty well renowned despite the other half of people not liking it or thinking it's garbage or whatever, right? My whole thing about this, I think it's ridiculous, and I think even if Intergalactic were to fail, everyone's like, well, Naughty Dog's done then, it's over. No, they'll just make The Last of Us Part 3, and we all know how The Last of Us Part 3 will go. It's gonna be pretty much either commercial success, or it might even be a mixed opinion game, but it's gonna sell like hotcakes. I think everybody knows this. I've told you all in multiple videos, if Intergalactic fails, Naughty Dog becomes strictly an Uncharted Last of Us studio for the foreseeable future. This is Naughty Dog's chance to break away from that Last of Us mold that people have been like, man, I'm sick of The Last of Us, I'm sick of the remakes, I'm sick of the remasters, I'm sick of them just Last of Us. Well, this is their chance. Intergalactic is that chance to break off and do something new. As we know, there's also another game in development at Naughty Dog, which we don't know. Could be Last of Us spin-off, could be a new Uncharted. I think it's a new Uncharted, or kind of a spin-off game, or even a remake. We'll have to wait and see on that. But we have Intergalactic coming, we have a potential Uncharted / Last of Us spin-off game, and then we have Part 3. So a lot of stuff. Again, I wouldn't really take much into this, but again, I've seen a lot of people talking about this, and I want to discuss this because it's annoying to have to see everyone talking about this on social media when I don't even think there's much validity to it to start. Guys, we'll pretty much close this video with my thoughts about December. We know the Game Awards is coming up, and everyone wants me to know. If I had to give y'all a percentage, it's 50-50 for this December. Again, if it ain't even going to be in December, I would expect an early state of play next year where Naughty Dog will finally open a little bit more on this game. I think it's safe to say, y'all, especially with these job listings we've seen in this video that I've talked about, the end is near. Meaning our silence, it's almost been, like I said, it's almost been 12 months. Naughty Dog, it's time to start getting the gameplay out there and start to see what this game really is. It's your deepest game ever. Deepest gameplay, biggest game ever, most expensive game ever. We need to see that what's entailing with that. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. I'll have a new video on The Last of Us pretty soon, because remember we talked about The Last of Us Day? Neil Druckmann's talked about a lot of the potentialities of that. So stay tuned for that video in a couple days. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Let's go over 750 likes on this video again. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Peace and love, and have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.